sometime back, you also tried to have the government, or the government extend the voting rights to more countries.
Yeah, I think I succeeded. In that particular motion, I succeeded, and so far the orders are still in place. That what I was complaining about in terms of being limiting people to vote. So people have been allowed to vote using their IDs outside Kenya. They are only saying use a valid passport. Some people's passport expired. They have no need to renew them, but they have their IDs. So it is still there, and I think we might be getting a judgment soon. We got to finish the submissions and what have you. And I think the government had no case. They had no reason why they could not allow a Kenyan to use an ID to register. A passport is for traveling. It's supposed to identify you at customs or immigration points. The IB is going to use it as another tool for registration, but the primary tool should be the ID. That's my case. So if you have a Kenyan ID, well and good, and the Kenyan IDs are issued even these kids out there. So that will be possible to use a Kenyan ID to register to vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, when you say that that has succeeded, do you mean that right now any Kenyan who is in any country in the world, when it comes to presidential elections, maybe 2027, they'll vote?
Well, we have the order still in force.
Yeah.
The last election, that's how they were allowed last time to do. Right now they are free to register. So until the different order is realized, so far people are free to register using their IDs, which don't expire, to vote from any part of the world.
But in the past, we've seen the government say it's only maybe people from US, a few countries.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
They're rolling out of the registration because they have gone with brick and mortar. But if they were to be strict, then it should be possible for people to vote across the world easily. But they don't want to do that. They want to stay with the manual ballots and what have you, so people cannot help it.
Okay.
So they just reduce them to vote, I think, for the presidential candidate. They don't vote for other candidates, which to me is also wrong.
Okay. But how wrong is that? Because if I live, let's say, if I live in Canada, why should I vote for my MCA in Nyamira?
Why should you vote for the president then?
Because
the president does not have a different territory. The president operates in the wards, in the counties, in the constituencies. Yeah.
Okay.
So the president does not have a different country from what the MCA has. It's the same one country. So people should be able to vote for whoever they think is well equipped to run the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And what ways do you think the government can use to engage the diaspora community more closely and more effectively? Because right now, I think the diaspora community sort of comes as some sort of an afterthought, and maybe. First
of all, the diaspora is also very divided. So it's not a monogamous group. They've got very many competing ideas there, but I think they need to open more consulates in these countries to listen to their issues. They need to be given, even at the airports, when Kenyans are coming in, even if you're not in the diaspora, but if you're a Kenyan coming back into Kenya, should be given the preferential treatment we see Europeans being given in Europe when they're going back to their countries, Americans in their countries. But they treat us like we don't belong, you see. So that is the one area they should do. And number two, I think they should upgrade the desk on the diaspora, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to a slightly more elaborate and more deliberative platform that can then get in their issues and be able to address them. They should also find even a way of supporting them out there. Some have very good ideas that they could incubate out there, develop, and then bring back money here. We don't have a project to support the diaspora out there. People are in the diaspora, they are on their own. Maybe there could be some way we could help them be productive where they are by supporting, giving them some support system and whatever that could work. Because you see many countries look at how the Chinese are supporting their people here. And I'm telling you, don't tell me about money because we are wasting a lot of money. if we held tightly onto our money, we can do a lot of things for the citizens of this country. I was in South Sudan the other day and I learned something very interesting at the government of Uganda. It's a nobody in the Ugandan businessmen beat Kenyan businessmen hands down. Why? Because these people go and get contracts to the government of South Sudan. They do the contracts. They raise invoices in the name of the government of South Sudan, but then the government of Uganda picks up and pays the bills. Then later on, the government of South Sudan reimburses the government of Uganda. But the Kenyans are left on their own, holding on their bills, then they get bankrupt. And by the time they're being paid, they can't compete. Yeah. So those kind of small interventions in different markets. Let the diaspora say what kind of intervention they would like to get from the motherland. Let the government come up with a program how to do it. Because this is something that should not be really supply driven. The question you asked should not be answered from the way of the side of the government saying we are going to supply this. It should be answered in the manner the government should give the diaspora a forum where they can state the kind of help they need from the motherland, and then the motherland can invest in them, and then there will be returns. Because not like the South Sudan where the Ugandans are thriving. You can see they are basically creating jobs for Ugandans out there, as much as they are working within the state, the Sudanese state. And the Ugandan government has found a way to engage carefully with that. So we need a similar way whereby the Kenyan government maybe can listen to its citizens in the various corners of the world, because I don't think it's a homogeneous problem. Then they will tell them maybe what these kind of problems they have. I've had people complain about the investment vehicles back at home. Then maybe those investment vehicles could be upped.
When you said that the diaspora community is so much divided, what do you mean exactly?
Some of them, sometimes when I follow that blog, the same tribalism you find here, the same informed engagement with the Kenyan state is also very visible among them.
Really?
Yeah, it's very visible. When you read, I read some of their postings, and some are very, very tribal. So they also need to deal with those internal contradictions, so that they don't again become Kisses, Luyas, Luos competing against each other, and competing in a manner that they want to defeat each other. They should become Kenyans and compete now. Like me, I believe that Kenyans should be competing against Ugandans, against South Africans, against Arabs, against Latinos. But if we get to a point whereby we become Africans, then Africa now should also compete against other continents. We need to begin looking at this country as one and engage with it in terms of this country being one and we being Kenyans. And answering the question today, you have got a GDP of about 2,000 US dollars. What do we need to do to get that GDP to about 20,000 US dollars? Then to 30,000, then to 50,000. If that becomes what consumes us, then we shall be able to fight and fight hard to achieve that destiny. But if we think that the Luya in the room is my problem, or the Luo in the room, or the Kikuyu in the room, or the Somali in the room is my problem, then we lose it big and we shall never be able to realize the potential that this country gives us, even if we are in the diaspora.
What do you think is maybe the most effective way of the government or Kenyans tackling, and especially the president, tackling corruption?
Rule of law. The law says ensure public office is filled competitively. Give the jobs to the most suited. The law says don't use public office to enrich yourself. The solution is there. It's not magic. Apply the law. Be faithful to the Constitution. And that's why when the Gen Z say they are formless, they are leaderless, they are whatever, they are telling us, don't look for solution, don't look for our leaders, dialogue with our leaders. Dialogue with the Constitution. Engage into a dialogue with the Constitution. It will liberate you. It will save you. It will free you. So the solutions are there. The public interest is the law. So if we can implement the law, be faithful to that law, we'll resolve our problems.
Ah.
Yeah.
So then does that mean that President Ruto has failed to uphold the law?
Totally. He doesn't believe in the law. He sees the law as an impediment. That's why he's even trying to, him and Raila are trying to change the constitution. They think the constitution is the problem. It's them who are the problem, not the constitution. Because you cannot begin changing what you have not implemented, you see. It's a bit of, not a way I don't understand, of doing things that I don't understand.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we are.
Okay.